course I didn't walk. What do you think? I'm some crazy health freak. Hello YouTubes. I'm doing some wire checking, tracing for faults. Found something interesting. Check this out. We are heading to the very back of the heads on this Hemi engine. I'll give you a closer look. Do you see that red ribbon at the back here? It's attached to the back of the head on the driver's side. Well, it's actually an earth strap, and I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be grounded to something. Now, I'm not like thinking this is the answer to all my problems, but it certainly can't help. If you've been reading the comments, then you'll notice that one of my subscribers, Brian Bog, he told me to check these. I thought I had checked, I'm sorry Brian. And he had a similar problem. He replaced his ground and everything was fixed, so it's worth a shot. I mean, I need to do it anyway, so I'm going to nip along to Canadian Tire. I'll get 2 earth straps because no doubt if there's one gone, there'll be another one gone. And then I'm going to just rebuild it. Because I've done all the physical mechanical tests. I think they are down to an electrical gremlin, and I can't really test that properly till it's built back up and running. So I'll see you in a bit when I've got the earth straps and we'll get this thing rebuilt. Oh, my son's stolen my other truck. Guess I'm walking. Of course I didn't walk. What do you think? I'm some crazy health freak. Right, picked up 2 of these, which is just as well because I discovered something else in the engine bay. That earth strap that I've now removed is supposed to live in there, and then it actually connects from there over to a similar bolt over here, which I'll show you. In that point, guess what? There's not even a bolt in there, so that's interesting. And then from that point, as I say, that joins from there to there, and then the earth strap then goes from there down to way down there. You see this here? This non-existent earth strap, which also snaps, and it connects down to this weird little clip down there, which you're not going to be able to see, but it's just some weird clip. My question is, who was the idiot that worked on this before me and didn't make sure that all these earth straps were solid and attached? I mean, I could understand if it just corroded and fell off, but there's not even a bolt on the passenger side head at the rear. Moron. Okay, let me get the new earth straps attached somehow, and then we'll start rebuild. Actually, I thought I'd better show you that clip. That's what it looks like, which attaches to the firewall. Seriously, what sort of nonsense is this? That your heads are earthed to each other and then through this crappy little clip onto a lip of the firewall. That's nonsense. Okay folks, we have our new earth straps attached. From there over to there, and I kind of struggled to find an earth point. Remember, I wasn't wanting to use that little clip, so I did find a metal bracket which I had to grind down a little bit to get a nice metallic-y surface, which is there, and that's on a bracket that gets bolted to the firewall, so we should be good there. Okay, finally I'll give this a clean up, get the intake back on, actually get this cleaned up, get the valve cover back on, because that's going to be much easier to get on without the intake. Plug anything in that needs to be plugged in, get the intake back on, plug anything else that needs to be plugged in, and make sure everything's connected before we go for a start. Driver's side valve cover now installed. I was about to install the intake manifold, but not yet. This is the underside of the intake manifold. And these are gaskets that obviously stop air getting sucked in when this gets bolted, obviously, other way around, down onto the engine. But as you can see, these gaskets are pretty much flush with the surface. And this one over here, I noticed, has got a little crack in it. And that's all it would take for a air leak to cause problems. There's a few of them like that actually. These are little tabs that you use to kind of locate it. Ugh, I don't even see why, but hey, that could be a problem. And as I say, they're all pretty much squished right down. There's a couple of other ones here. This one, which is actually proud of the surface, which is weird. And this one here is also proud. So anyway, I've ordered a whole kit. Should be here in a couple of days. And then we can continue. See you in a flash. It is 2 days later. My little gaskets are here. Now you'll notice that these gaskets are a little bit different from the originals because they don't have this little tab. Now that's fine and dandy having this little tab so that you can easily remove it. It's not that hard to remove it without this little tab. But here's the problem. Here's one I made earlier. What happens when that little tab breaks off like that? Well, suddenly you don't have a seal anymore. This is what it was like sitting in the intake. So that's why I've gone for these completed squares with no chance of the tab just breaking off and creating a vacuum leak. So let us get the intake cleaned up. And there's something important on the top side that you need to clean as well. Now I'm not going to go clean freak in this whole intake manifold, but there are certain areas that you do need to clean, or at least I want to clean, and that is these 4 holes on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, same on the other side, and this is where your injectors live. So if there's any dirt and grime in there, you might not get a good seal for your injectors, which could cause a problem. So I'm going to clean all them, both sides, same on the other side, flip it over, clean all the grooves where, not that, clean all the grooves where these are going, and then we can finally get it rebuilt. See you soon. Manifold cleaned up, new gaskets installed, and you can see just how much these live above the surface, whereas the old ones were pretty much flush. And also we no longer have this potential issue with air getting in through this little groove. Still don't understand that stupid design. Right, before I get this back on the engine, just a reminder that there's 2 connections. Basically, remember, this is upside down, and this is the back of the engine, near the firewall. There's 2 connections. This will be pointing down the way, at the very back of the block. And there's another one down here, which is going to be at the top of the block, pointing to the big aeroplane in the sky. What's that? No idea. Pointing to the passenger side. That's relatively easy to get to. I know they look the same, but they're not. The one that's going to be pointing down is a 4-pin. The one that's going to be pointing to the side is a 3-pin. So don't try and ram a 4-pin into a 3-pin. So I need to make sure they're on first, and then I can get everything bolted down into the engine bay. Okay, let's do this. think we're done. I'll stare into the engine bay for a wee bit longer and make sure I've not forgotten something, and check the garage for spare parts. Well, I don't see any spare parts other than the big Hemi engine cover, but that's not going on until everything's perfect, because I still need access. Well, hopefully today I will no longer need access. Fat chance. Right. I need to clear the codes from the last time. While I do that, I'll prime the fuel 3-4 times just to make sure everything's good, and then we'll go for start. Just going to check for any fuel leaks. All good, let's do this. Sounds good, let's go inside, wait for the bong, you know it's going to come. So you normally get I shouldn't even say normally, because you shouldn't normally get a warning light, but in this case, we normally get the warning light after a few minutes of running. So we are currently 2 minutes of running. Well, almost 2 minutes. This corner here we're looking at. It feels nice. I mean, it always does until it bongs and gives me an error code, so. Oh, I know what it does. It bongs when I take it above 2000 RPM, but I'm not going to do that until it's a wee bit warmer, so. Bear with me. Okay, we're now running for almost 10 minutes. Still sounds nice. If you hear some ticking, that's just the fuel injectors clicking away. Right, time to do the 2000 RPM rev test, I guess. I'm kind of resigned to the fact that this probably didn't fix it, but let's go for it. As predicted. I ran my diagnostic tool again. The good news is I no longer have a P0305, which is the misfire in cylinder 5. Now I have a P0344, which is a camshaft position sensor fault. Just kind of suspicious because I changed that recently. It's like chasing a mouse around the house. Right, I will check the cam position sensor again and the wiring, make sure that's good before I give up for the day. Cam sensor checked, cleaned the connection ends, wire seems okay, but obviously you're not going to know for sure without running a diagnostic through the wires, so we'll give it another shot, as I say, before we give up for the day. I did clear the codes, so hopefully we're starting afresh. As usual, starts fine, idle's fine. And then when we rev it up to 2, I'll wait for the revs to come down because it has cooled down a little bit. Right, let's go for 2000 RPM. Oh, I was getting excited there. Getting excited, but no, we're back and now it's running like a pig. I do another scan, another error check, and see if it's still coming up with the cam sensor. Oh my god, make up your mind. Oh, this is driving me insane. Are we having fun yet? It's got to be some electrical gremlin, right? It's got to be. I picked up a swanky new multimeter and I spoke to Bill at Solar Garage on the telephone, and he's been talking me through how these things work. And basically I need to take a crash course in automotive electronics because I've never done this stuff before. Now, before you leave a comment and tell me exactly what's wrong with my truck, I will put a list of everything we have checked and replaced over the last couple of weeks so that you don't have to just keep repeating other people's questions, okay? I do appreciate anything that I might not have thought of or anything that someone else hasn't thought of, because this is driving me around the bend. It's going to be one tiny broken wire, isn't it? But as I say, I learned how to use this, and I need to check all the sensors, the cam sensor, the crank sensor, all the injectors, the coil, everything, the coils, and get to the bottom of this. Not giving up, at least not yet. Thank you again for following this crazy journey, and I will see you on the next installment. Take care, bye.